There comes a time when a director gets comfortable. Real comfortable with their style. When Miami Vice came along, Michael Mann seemed to have veered out of his lane and into uncharted territory. He took the studio's blockbuster budget and essentially made an art house film, composing frames with a totally hallucinogenic atmosphere. He takes the framework of the beloved 80s show and revitalizes it for the new millennium, which undoubtedly brought along a myriad of opinions when the reviews landed. One thing's for sure, what Mann unknowingly dropped was a cult hit that, when looked through a different lens, made perfect sense in what he was going for, a dreamlike mood piece.
4 hours of dicking us around, call it. That's it. Let's go.
The key word here is meditative. A mood piece exists to evoke a feeling. It isn't bogged down in focusing on one subject, or fussed with lengthy wordplay. The background ideas should seep in. And that sentiment is shared with Miami Vice. The first thing Mann does is place us in the middle. In media res of proceedings, like a dream where they don't have defined beginnings. We see figures in a thumping nightclub, gazing over the heads of unwary civilians looking for their game. We're participants, not observers, and we're left to adjust. The suits, the humidity, the mojitos. You get these unadulterated feelings rendered in fine digital noise. Mann isn't concerned about the operation at hand. He cares about extracting the taste from the ever-shifting mise-en-scène. Don't listen to the jargon, feel the thickness in the air.
Confidential informant, we cut loose, you guys.
CI's name is Alonzo Stevens. He called us.
In fashion, we don't get a full resolution of the nightclub scene. We move on as abruptly as we were introduced to the film. Later on, a scene starts with an energetic soundtrack. We hear or see no plan of action.
I got a double hit. There's another plane there.
The clear-cut detectives just do. We figure the rest out for ourselves. That's why I think of this film as a series of vignettes in a dangerous world. Making it feel cohesive would rob its unrestrained, surreal spirit and extends to the characters as well. Farrell and Fox barely exchange a dozen lines, and when they do, it's elusive and technical.
So,
fabricated identity, and what's really up, collapsed into one frame.
The years of connection between Sonny and Rico doesn't need exposition, it's fused within their behaviour. Mann teases a quiet performance, a sense of history can be felt. They reflect on their inner life, this fabricated identity they assumed for their undercover work, slowly damaging their real world. We witness a special connection between Sonny and Isabella, an elemental bond where their time with love is sadly limited. We see them try to maximize this by trying to find each other physically and spiritually. Everyone's doomed in this business. Mann knows the war on drugs are futile. Life does grind you down. Failure does happen to professionals. We don't just see them going off for a drink, we have a fleeting moment with the two humans hoping they can find peace among the seas and skies, and that's worth dying for. Mann captures this surreal geography with new technology. He doesn't use digital as a newfound substitute, he treats it as a medium of its own.
But the primary reason for doing it had to do with what I wanted you to feel about daylight, about how light hits the water, how light hits these people, how intensely saturated and vivid everything you're looking at becomes.
Cinematographer Dion Beebe uses the nimble Thomson Viper film streams and the Sony HDW series of cameras to craft this hyper-real immediacy. High shutter speeds allow for minimal artificial lighting, while also giving it a high frame rate look that feels in the moment and primal. The conventions of how cinema should look go out the window. The marriage of a high depth of field and Mann's love for negative space creates an environment that consumes the characters.
This format has amazing depth of field. You can sort of see forever. You can see from 2 inches in front of your face to the horizon in this amazing deep focus.
Sure, it isn't crisp and sharp, but the visual clarity speak volumes.
So what's going on?
As in?
As in, there's undercover, and then there is which way is up.
So how does Mann present this world? Firstly, he employs a lot of handheld. Routine actions have a jitter to them. It becomes slightly unhinged and urgent. Again, we're participants, and Mann lets us in on the intimacy. The compositions are less composed and asymmetric, giving us clarity between the subject and the space, as we attune to this new energy. Operatic wides to characterize the surroundings, and the close-ups from behind the head cluing us in on their thoughts.
They're browbeating an informant, and Colin Farrell goes to the window and looks out, and it's such an odd moment to cut to a guy just contemplating his reality or his moment, and it's designed to unsettle you or have you feel he's unsettled about something and you don't know what. So it's really designed to hopefully have you feel that there's a vacuity in his life. We don't know what it is. It's going to be filled up with Gong Li eventually.
Only Mann can make a jet cutting through heaven so beautiful and so exciting. He's never gratuitous. The shots serve the trance-like nature. And Mann complements the visuals with an interesting soundscape, all captured with intense precision. The haunting 50 cal bullets just ripping to shreds. The growls of the Ferrari and the drones of planes. The sounds create a maximalist picture when the words said are reserved. When it's time to get loud, however, Mann removes the ambience. The usual build of suspense with a pulsating soundtrack is replaced with near silence. It's deafening, like they're in a vacuum. They're predators adapting to the environment. And when Mann thinks we're ready, it explodes in typical Mann fashion. The sounds feel uncertain, and that dreamlike quality is helped by a great mixture of post-rock, rock, and electronica injected at key moments. And these genres play well in evoking that ever-floating, in media res feeling of Miami. They elevate the already arresting images to pure awesomeness. Or a place of longing. Mann loves to tackle the masculine code with his characters, with their macho personalities taking up the screen. But Miami Vice shows restraint, reaching a point of maturity where the emotions do the heavy lifting. Even his action scenes, usually renowned for assaulting our senses, are refreshingly lean and concise. And the result is a misunderstood gem that serves as a touchstone for the new generation of artists, ones obsessed with high abstraction and low life. The core elements are stripped back in favor of painting a mood piece, and you don't get frames more surreal than this. The characters ruminate, while Mann meditates on themes of fatalism and time, and how they all collapse when it comes down to the wire. So next time you're not grasping a plot, don't worry, try to appreciate the feelings.
The weather, the skies, the color, the light, the air is perfumed. And there's an idyllic sense of life and just all around you physically in the Caribbean and in Miami. The sense of it is that it's foreign. And if it feels foreign, then we succeeded.